hospital care to uninsured patients during the pandemic is coming to an end. Advocates say the impact could be devastating.
I think it's a moral gut punch when you look at what we've all seen over the last 3 years.
The Ministry of Health says funding runs out soon as it winds down pandemic response measures, but supporters want to see the program extended and
strengthening our role as healthcare providers in the medical team. So that's obviously very good for us.
Ontario pharmacists will soon be able to assess and prescribe medication for even more ailments. Pharmacists say they're ready and willing to take on more, much like their counterparts across the country. Plus,
hey, you want to be mayor of Niagara Falls? Tell me. Good boy.
meet Pal, the German Shepherd, who was just named honorary mayor of an Ontario city. Yes, really, it's all in support of a local fundraising effort.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Thanks for being here with us. Pharmacists in Ontario will soon be able to assess and prescribe for even more ailments. The hope is to ease some of the burden on family doctors, emergency rooms, and walk-in clinics. Well, pharmacists say they're ready. As Meg Roberts shows us, the province is still behind others across the country.
Pharmacist owner Alexandra Mihaela is eager to take on more responsibility, which she will do this coming fall.
It's something that as pharmacists, we should be able to do and do more of.
The Ontario government made the announcement at the 2023 budget Thursday.
Pharmacists will soon be able to prescribe medication to treat more common ailments that they are eminently qualified to do so.
Medications that can treat acne, canker sores, diaper rash, yeast infections, pinworms, threadworms, and morning sickness and pregnancy. It's an expansion of the PC's announcement in January, giving pharmacists the power to prescribe medication for 13 additional conditions. But Mihaela says he doesn't think the general public is aware they're able to just walk through his front doors to get relief.
I'm still seeing prescriptions coming in, for example, UTIs or rashes that I could have taken on, and I've discovered them as being minor just by having a conversations with the patient. So we could have saved them a lot of time.
The Ontario Pharmacists Association has called the past few months a tremendous success, with more than 85,000 assessments done and 3,600 pharmacies taking part in the program. And there's talks of expanding it even more, with pharmacists being able to provide injections.
Right now, we can dispense those medications for injection, but we can't prescribe or inject. So we're sending patients different parts of the system, which isn't great from patient journey perspectives.
With more demands, though, comes an added level of responsibility, which some pharmacists say they want to be compensated for.
As pharmacists, we're welcoming the opportunity to show our value, and I think with time, we will be able to better negotiate the rates based on the benefits and the cost saving that we'll be providing the healthcare system.
By the fall, pharmacists will be able to prescribe medication for 19 common ailments. The Ontario Pharmacists Association says Ontario is still behind other provinces when it comes to prescribing powers. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Toronto.
Meantime, a program offering hospital care to uninsured patients during the pandemic is coming to an end. Much like paid sick days, the province says it's time to wind down COVID response measures. As Tyler Cheese shows us, the Ontario Medical Association, doctors, and opposition critics all say the move could have a devastating consequence.
When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, Ontario directed hospitals to temporarily provide health care to patients without OHIP coverage. The province agreed to reimburse hospitals for the expense, but now that program is coming to an end.
I think it's a moral gut punch when you look at what we've all seen over the last 3 years.
In an email sent to CBC Toronto, the Ministry of Health says the province is winding down its pandemic response measures to focus resources on delivering services Ontarians need the most. And patients without coverage are encouraged to speak to the treating hospital or physician to develop plans for future care.
About 500,000 people in Ontario do not have health insurance. It's really hard to reconcile why we'd be pulling back such important measures that have huge health implications as well to ensure that across the system, people can access it.
The news comes just days after a new report found the program has helped to ease the strain of an overburdened healthcare system.
Everyone who was surveyed unanimously agreed that this program has, improved the health outcomes of uninsured patients and resulted in less delays in accessing care for people.
She says the program has saved countless lives.
I supported one woman who was diagnosed with stage 1 thyroid cancer during these last 3 years. And because this program was in place, she was able to get a diagnosis in the first place. And now she's cancer-free. And she is alive today because of this program.
Advocates point out that many of those who will be impacted are immigrants and refugees, many of whom have been frontline workers throughout the pandemic.
They build the hospitals that you and I use, but when they are injured on the job, they can't go into or afford to.
He says the only ethical option is to keep the program going, especially as governments welcome migrant workforces to help with economic recovery.
What sense does it make in any way for our society, or for them mostly, to leave them unhealthy with advancing disease? That's not a healthy workforce is essential to this country.
The program is set to officially end March 31st. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, as of 12:01 this morning, an unofficial border crossing in Quebec was closed to asylum seekers. It is a swift move, one that was just announced yesterday when U.S. President Joe Biden was in Ottawa. As Ithel Musa shows us, many worry the closure will only force migrants to take even greater risks.
Like thousands of other migrants who've made the trek, this couple and their little girl were trying to cross into Canada Saturday when they heard this.
All right, you're all there.
This is Roxham Road. It connects New York State with the province of Quebec. For years, migrants were able to claim refugee status if they crossed through an unofficial border like this, but not anymore.
The United States and Canada will work together to discourage unlawful border crossings.
A revised Canada-U.S. border deal took effect Saturday that allows Canada to turn back asylum seekers coming from the U.S. at unofficial points of entry.
It's very alarming that people who merely want to seek protection are put in jail and possibly sent back to face renewed harm in their countries.
Another advocate who works with asylum seekers puts it more bluntly.
I think people will die. They will just resort to more desperate measures. So human smuggling or human trafficking will increase.
While some critics say closing Roxham Road to migrants will lead to serious humanitarian issues, politicians on both sides of the border are applauding the move. Although one admits more time would have been appreciated.
I think we needed a little window there to make sure that this could be done in an orderly process. A lot of people coming up here, they don't have Twitter. They don't even know that this happened.
Now a sign has been unveiled warning migrants not to cross, or they'll be arrested or sent back to the United States. Ithel Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, in other news tonight, Ontario's police watchdog says it will not lay charges against 2 officers who shot 2 men, killing one and seriously injuring the other in Markham last November. The SIU said it found no reasonable grounds to believe the 2 York Regional Police officers committed a criminal offense. They were working undercover investigating a vehicle believed to be connected to a series of home invasions in the area. When they were confronted by 2 men that had been inside the vehicle, one man pointed a loaded shotgun at one officer's head, while the other officer was armed with a knife. The officers opened fire, killing the man with the knife and seriously injuring the other. Well, turning to the weather story tonight, wet, windy, and destructive. A car dealership saw part of its roof blown off. You got to take a look at this. Police say it happened just after 11:30 this morning in Regent Park near Dundas and Bayview. Dundas Street East is closed in both directions, as is southbound Bayview. Police say if you're out there driving or walking around, be careful, and if you can, avoid the area. Well, today was the day to bust out the umbrella, though with the wind, I'm not sure if it would have helped that much. It's just messy out there. Environment Canada putting out weather statements across parts of Ontario. In Toronto, there's a special weather statement about that gusting wind. Meanwhile, here's a live look in Ottawa. A winter and travel advisory is in effect. There's some snow and freezing rain expected too. To break it all down for us, let's go to Anwar Knight is here with us tonight. Yeah, Anwar, watching people battle the umbrella today, wasn't that nice, you know? It was brutal.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You know, real brutal start to the first weekend of spring, Shannon, that's for sure. The wind warnings continue from Niagara to Windsor, as well as Kingston and Prince Edward County. Otherwise, it is special weather statements, and the wind is the big signature, certainly for us in the GTA. Let me show you some of the peak gusts. 91K in the London area. Generally, it was 30 to 60. Now, Pearson saw a gust at 61 clicks, but downtown it was 74 kilometers an hour, and that was just before lunch. So likely that was the gust that caused the damage at that car dealership. And the wind will continue as we get into the evening period in terms of extreme gusts, where the warnings are over 90 kilometers an hour. So where the weather statement is, it's 60 to 80 clicks for us in the city. Otherwise, the red area indicating we will see approaching 90 plus kilometers an hour. Power outages are certainly likely. We'll continue to monitor that. It does improve as we get into the overnight. But look at this. These are the current values. Where it's colder, you get snow, then you get rain, and maybe thunderstorms. We'll highlight that coming up in just a moment. But in the meantime, let me show you as we push into the overnight period what you can expect. Again, temperature dependent in terms of what type of precipitation. And we'll have all the details coming up in minutes. Shannon, back to you.
Thanks, Anwar. We'll see you shortly.
Okay.
A big event taking place later tonight celebrating Nowruz, the Persian community coming together at Scotiabank Arena not only to welcome the arrival of spring, but also to send a message of hope and support to the people of Iran who are fighting for human rights.
Tirgan is a charity organization. Its mission is to promote Persian arts and culture in Toronto and the area. Tirgan usually does Nowruz festivals every year, but this year Nowruz feels a little bit different for a lot of Iranians, especially here in Toronto. Because of the revolution that's happening in Iran, Nowruz is really not the same. So we decided instead to do a solidarity event to still bring the community together, but to be the voice of our brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers in Iran.
We are in the middle of a big revolution. I think this concert is very important for the Iranian society in diaspora.
I'm so happy that I'm here. I'm trying to just be with the rest of Iranian, the whole world, to show my people in Iran that I am trying to be with them and I'm trying to do whatever I can. We are together, all of us, we are together, not in Toronto and the whole world. I have a lot of hope that we are going to make it.
The message to the Iranian people in Iran: we are with you, we are for you, and we will back to our homeland.
And a look inside St. Michael's Cathedral Basilica, where Toronto's new Catholic Archbishop was officially installed today. Frank Leo was named the city's 14th Archbishop by Pope Francis last month. Cardinal Thomas Collins resigned last year. And a heads up for commuters, starting with the GO service. There's no train service on the Barrie line this weekend. That's because of track construction and maintenance between Bradford GO and Downsview Park. Replacement buses are running instead. Regular train service is expected to pick up on Monday. And it is the end of an era. The sale of TTC tokens is officially over. The TTC itself actually stopped selling tokens back in 2019. Instead, you could only get them at third-party stores. Well, some low-income advocates are worried about the change. The Transit Authority says more than 90% of transit riders already use Presto. Meantime, more TTC changes are coming tomorrow. Service will be cut by 10% for 36 bus routes, 2 subway routes, and 1 streetcar route. The TTC says wait times should only increase by about 3 minutes at most. You're looking at the All Nations Powwow. The event was co-hosted by the U of T Mississauga Indigenous Centre and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. The programming included a full day of traditional ceremonies, singing and dancing, as well as a jingle dress competition. Indigenous-owned businesses and vendors also set up and sold their creations.
Hey, you want to be mayor of Niagara Falls? Tell me. Good boy.
Oh yeah, he's a good boy, okay? This is Pal the German Shepherd. He was named honorary mayor of Niagara Falls yesterday. So far, Pal is promising voters unlimited trips to the dog park, a bunch of fire hydrants and cuddles for all. We spoke to the other mayor, Jim Diodati, about his contender in office and the positive reception he's getting.
You know, I've got a local family, Michelle and David McKinnon, who lost his son to kidney disease a number of years ago. So they've been endeavoring to raise money for kidney everything. So the latest thing, they own a pizzeria in town called The Pizzeria. And what they're doing, they're donating $2 from every pizza that they sell. They're going to be giving money for a portable ultrasound machine for kidney patients here in Niagara Falls. A gentleman in town, Mike Lawlisich, has a dog named Pal. And they always use their social media notoriety for great causes. So they'll help whoever is in need. And so they came forward and he said, you know what? Me and Pal would like to do something to help the McKinnons raise money for this kidney machine. Can we be a part of it? And I said, sure. What'd you have in mind? He goes, how about we make Pal mayor for the weekend? And I said, great. He'll definitely be better than the current mayor. We made him mayor for the day. We stamped his paw inside of our book, and a book of some real notables, including Queen Elizabeth. Been hearing, keep him. Can we keep this this mayor? He's definitely better. You know, and of course, you know, I went through his list of things that he wants me to get done. You know, he wants me to add more dog parks. He wants me to put in significant more fire hydrants, and he said something apparently about no cats for this weekend. So I'm not sure what that's all about.
Too funny. Way to go, Pal. You're doing great, buddy. Okay, now we're looking live at Niagara tonight. The city is taking part in Earth Hour by shutting down non-essential lighting between 8:30 and 9:30 tonight. Now, the lighting of the falls will also pause in support of the initiative. We'll tell you more about Earth Hour after. Welcome back. People are turning off their lights tonight in honor of Earth Hour. The idea sparked in Australia way back in 2007. It aims to raise awareness for climate change and to encourage people to reflect on and reduce energy consumption.
We do things that are very not efficient. And for example, you know, I know people that don't think twice about things like turning on the air conditioning while they turn on their oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit to bake pizza. And so on one hand, you are cooling the house, on the other hand, you're heating it at the same time. And that is a huge, huge waste of energy. And we do it because energy is cheap. We pay very low rates for energy use, and it's very abundant. And it's become a thing that we've taken for granted.
Anwar is back with us talking about the messy weather, and also, yes, if you want to pause the lights in Toronto tonight, it's at 8:30 p.m.
Well, you know, Shannon, some may be participating whether they like it or not because of power outages, because of that wind.
That's right.
We've seen, power lines are down in and around the Windsor area as some of these gusts push through. Very large system. You know, they say everything is bigger in Texas, and this is evident. Very powerful, potent system, strong winds in the upper atmosphere, potential maybe even of some thunderstorms we've highlighted here. No warnings in play, but maybe some small hail. I think the biggest signature will be those strong wind gusts through the evening period, as indicated earlier, maybe in excess excess of 90 kilometers an hour. So don't be surprised if the lights go out, and not related to Earth Hour. Behind that front, as everything moves out, really a nice day tomorrow. We'll see a lot of sunshine in many areas, certainly in the GTA, wrapping down to the southwest, double digits, 10 degrees with sunshine. Still dealing with some cloud cover, snow, wet snow, the back-breaking type in portions of the eastern sections of southern Ontario. And then as we get to the 7-day trend, a couple of things I wanted to point out. One, there's no commanding amount of warmth that's going to move in for the 7-day forecast. And we're watching the potential of 2 storms, one on Tuesday and one on Friday, a Colorado low. Still a lot of uncertainty, but I just wanted to put it out on the radar. We may be dealing with some very potent systems still next week and no major warmth. Shannon, we'll send it back to you.
Okay, thanks, Anwar. Colorado low. I never like hearing that. That could be a doozy. Thanks for being with us here tonight.
Pleasure.